I'm actually, in fact, I'm working on two programs
Uh-huh.
which are to be implemented by IHM and other places. I got in touch with these institutes and I told them that you guys are concentrating on preparing people and pushing them into the hospitality industry.
Mm.
What about getting people who are already working there?
Mm. Mm. Mm.
So as a consultant, I have got there are two problem areas.
Mm.
When a person reaches the stage of being the head of the department, and when the person reaches the stage of being a general manager.
Yes. Yes.
Now, these are the two positions where your job profile changes totally.
Correct. Correct.
And it's time that before these people are put into these positions, they should undergo an orientation,
Yeah.
which
Absolutely.
which individual hotels are unable to do.
So I would ask you first to just kind of explain how did you started in the hospitality industry, and when you
Okay,
started, what was your goal?
okay. What my goal was at that time is going to be very, very different what the goal should be right now.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, because when I started my career in 1980.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I joined hotel management in 1977. huh? Now, at that time in India, employment was a big issue. But hotel management was one course where it was guaranteed that if you do this course, you are going to get employed. Now, as you realize, that issue is not there now.
Well, it's still kind of the issue is still there.
No,
I'm
see
not.
employment, but the point is that there are too many institutes, and your chances of employment after doing hotel management are as good as you doing some other course.
Yeah.
But in
Correct.
those days, if you did a 3-year diploma in hotel management, because it was available only in four places: Delhi, Bombay, Calcutta, Madras, and nowhere else.
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
Right. So the people who came out, we were hired 6 months before we completed our course. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
hired 6 months before we
Hmm.
completed our
Hmm.
course.
Hmm.
So that was the chance of getting employed, which was very, very high compared to anything else in the country at that moment. So that was the reason. I'll be very upfront why I joined. But after that, fell in love with the place,
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
with the industry, in the sense that after working for about 15 years in the hospitality industry, I left the hospitality industry and I went into mobile communication.
Okay.
3 years later, I was back
Oh, so you
because
didn't
I
like
did not
mobile
get that
communication?
joy out there. Like the it's a very stressful job. Hotels are you got to work very hard. It's very stressful, but it's very, very enjoyable.
Yeah,
The thing that you
correct.
get in working in a
Yeah,
hotel, you do not get.
get in
And
any
my
other industry.
experience is that uh, when people enter the hotel industry, they either leave within 1 or 2 years, they exit.
Or they stay.
Those guys who stay back really stay back for a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah. They are not able to go back because of the love that we get in the hospitality
Yes,
industry of working with people, working with guests, and a new
yes,
challenge every single day. That's not present in the other industries to a large
yes,
extent.
yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'll just quickly give you a rundown. I started my career with the Moria Hotel in Delhi at the reception. Within months, they discovered that they had recruited us at the wrong place, put us into a management training program.
Okay.
Then I spent 15 years with them,
Mm-hmm.
working both in operations and sales and marketing, and worked all over the place. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was in Delhi, from there Agra, Delhi again, Hyderabad, Madras, Port Blair, Kargil, Delhi,
Mm-hmm.
Hyderabad again, like all those places. Then after leaving them for 15 years, for 3 years, I was in the mobile industry as GM marketing for a company called JTM
Okay.
that had the license for Andhra Pradesh. Then I jumped back.
Mm.
I jumped back by going into Club Mahindra, which was a timeshare. But I was looking after the hotels division and I was
Mm.
looking after the development of hotels.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, From there, I joined Carlson Hotels.
Okay.
Carlson Hotels came to Delhi, joined Radisson, and I established their sales and marketing network
Okay.
because
Okay.
at that time I was in sales and marketing. Then I had a desire to get back into operations. I've been lucky to weave in and out of sales and marketing. So therefore, I've got an equal experience in sales and marketing and in operations. Then I jumped back into operations. I opened a hotel in Jaipur. I opened a hotel in Udaipur, and then a hotel in Delhi. Before joining Sarovar as there, that was my last formal job as vice president marketing of the Sarovar group of hotels.
Okay.
I left them about 5 years back because I did not want to reach a stage of getting a tag of retired.
Mm-hmm.
You know, after that, I've been helping hotels who are not doing well.
Yeah.
I help them recover because
Mm-hmm.
you see, for a hotel to recover, it has to be a combined process of sales and marketing activity
Yeah.
and operational efficiency.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The problem is most hotels do not connect the two.
Yeah. That's
The
that's
sales and
that's a
marketing
challenge.
functions in one and no they. So if you join them together, the problem is solved. So that's what I've been doing. For
Mm-hmm.
the past 3 months, I've been helping hotels become COVID compliant
Okay. Yeah. That's the need of
because,
the hour.
yeah, the guidelines are there from the government. You have to go beyond the guidelines
Yes. Yes.
because you have to secure your hotel. If something goes wrong in the hotel, despite your care,
Mm.
it affects you adversely,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Correct.
So you have to give confidence to the guest that they are being well looked after.
Mm-hmm.
And a separate operating instruction has to be made for each hotel
Mm.
because the structure is different.
Mm-hmm.
I go around, take a look of the hotel, and then make operating procedure and train people on this.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm doing right now.
That's what you're doing right now. Okay. Hotel. Basically, I have two jobs. One is the corporate job, being a CFO for a hotel company here in Myanmar.
I see.
The other job that I have is this hotel management school that I am running as my own personal venture, where I
I
am
see.
trying to create courses for hospitality students and professionals alike who may be
I see.
willing to learn more skills in business, finance, housekeeping, front office, like multi-skilling, multitasking. Because I
Okay.
see now that a lot of hotels are putting efforts on trying to multi-skill their staff and train them into multiple abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives probably the students also a chance to learn by themselves, because it depends on the programs that are run by a hotel. Some hotels have strong training programs, some hotels have not so strong training programs. So
I'm aware
my
of that.
courses are for those who don't have the access to the training modules by IHM or the high-end hotel management institutes, or are not working with those big brands which
Mhm.
might be able to train them up, basically. If I want to ask you, let's say in the 40 years of experience, what are your key learnings? If you say, okay, these are my 5 or 10 top learnings in the hospitality industry where things normally go wrong and people need to be careful from hotels perspective and also from the employee perspective, means for their career advancement. So let's start with the hotel first.
See, as far as the hotel is concerned, one very biggest learning. A hotel is a place where a lot of coordinated activity takes place.
Yeah.
There is no other place where so much of action takes place in such a small geographical areas of different kinds. So coordinated working
Yeah.
is the most important thing for a hotel. Now look at the different kind of people that are working there. You have MBAs working in your sales and marketing people. You have chartered accountants working in your finance department. You have highly qualified engineers working in your engineering department.
Yeah.
You have the kitchen is not an easy place.
Yeah. There's
You have
definitely a
highly
difficult one.
experienced people working in the kitchen, in F&B, in the front office, and they are of all grades. While you have very sophisticated people on one side, then you got the houseman on the other side. the security guards on the other side.
Yeah.
And all that happens in a very limited geographical area. So
Yeah.
coordination, working in coordination, working as a team is the most important thing for the success of any hotel.
Yeah. Yeah.
To the youngsters, I'll say that you have to keep on learning, learning, learning. Because if you want to be good in coordination, you better know what happens on the other side. So there's a lot of learning to do.
So means
So they
the
have
knowledge of their own operations is not that
enough.
important. Is the
That's not enough.
understanding of other operational departments, other challenges is equally important.
It's very important because how do you coordinate with them? How does a front office person put pressure on housekeeping
Yeah.
to turn around rooms fast if they do not know how housekeeping functions?
Yeah. Correct.
If they do not know how engineering functions. So they need to know that.
Well, in little of my experience, I see it sometimes the front office or the GMs or the operational sales and marketing, especially sometimes they commit things to the guest, which
Yes.
operational departments, specifically the housekeeping and security and the bellmen, the front office team, the concierge team, are not just able to deliver because they don't have enough capabilities and also the equipments that they are required. And if the salespeoples and the operational the person who is selling and committing to the guest does not understand their own hotels, let alone the processes. Okay, the process is there, maybe you understand, but if they don't understand within the capabilities of the hotel,
Yes.
the other departments, they generally overcome it.
Yeah, you see, I often tell them that in any product, hotel or anything, now let me talk as a salesperson, sales and marketing
Yeah.
person. In any product, the first step is know your product. If you do not know your product, you can't sell it. If you're selling a laptop, unless you know the laptop, you cannot sell it. Now, when it comes to hotels, it's by knowing your product, it does not mean the physical attributes of the product. But you should also know the strengths and weaknesses of your product.
The product, yeah.
You need to know the weaknesses, not to criticize, but how you can, while selling, how do you work around it?
Yeah, correct.
How do you work around it? So that is what happens. So therefore, it's important for sales. And when I used to get people in sales and marketing from outside, and they used to wonder, sir, why are you sending us to work in housekeeping for 2-3 days? Why are you sending us into the kitchen? I said, look, you are selling this product and you better know this product.
Yeah, correct.
You better know how this product functions and you better know what it can deliver. What does it mean to offer an early breakfast to a conference? Offer an early breakfast to a conference because they want to check out on the last day. You ought to know how the kitchen has to prepare, the restaurant has to prepare itself, how engineering has to prepare itself, to do that. So therefore, knowing the product is most important, and that's why they need to know this thing.
Yeah. Okay. So the first thing is the coordinated effort from everybody and knowing the product by each and every one. Okay. What would be the second or third thing you would say?
See, it's very difficult to pin it down A, B, C, D, but I'll just share with you some of the experience. I'll share with you a concept which I used to share with my head of the departments and general managers. I used to tell them that you have to follow the CEO concept.
CEO, yeah.
CEO concept. What is meant by CEO is that there are 3 areas that you have to pay equal attention to. C stands for the customer, E stands for employee, and O stands for the ownership. First, you have to look at the customer, the guest, whom we call as a guest in our industry, as to are they getting their value for money. Now, value for money is not something cheap. Value for money is whatever you're paying, are you getting worth it? So you need to understand the needs of a guest and fulfill them, because a delighted guest is going to come back to you. Now that's a focus. That's one focus that you have to do. The second focus that you have to do is on your employees, because the hotel industry runs on people.
Yeah.
This is
for
one
people's
industry
by people's.
Yes. because this your ultimate test of your product is in the delivery of service, and the delivery is done by humans, by
Correct.
people, and it's done by people. I, I I would like to use that term, but just for explaining that down the rank. Okay,
Yes. Yes.
so your front office functioning is not as good as your front office manager, but it is as good as the receptionist that interacts with the guest. Your F&B is not as good as your F&B manager, but it's as good as the stewards that serve.
Yes. Correct.
Housekeeping
Yes.
is as good as the houseman that makes up your room. So you have to look after your employees, and as we say that we must serve with a smile. The smile for an employee will not come unless this employee is smiling from inside.
Yes. That's right.
This is not an industry where you can thrash people. This is where many hoteliers go wrong. This is not an industry where you can pressurize people and make them work and smile. That will be a false smile.
Yeah.
The guest will recognize it right away. So you have to look after your employees. You have to look that your employees are well trained, they are motivated, they are happy. You don't have to put them in your lap and pat them, no. But you got to make sure that they are satisfied and they're happy. And finally, you have to look after the ownership too. Somebody has invested in that hotel for the sake of a profit. So is your concept of profitability clear? No? I often say that you have to stop being an executive manager and become a business manager. And you have to strike a balance between all three. Any general manager who's running after profitability and neglecting employees and guests is had it. Similarly, anybody who's just too good with guests and doesn't care about employees or profitability, again is in trouble. A manager who makes employees very happy but is unable to deliver the service and unable to deliver profits, again in the problem. So you have to, this model, you have to
Balance.
balance these three,
Yeah.
and you got to understand. One can go deeper into it. There are reasons as to how to take care of a guest.
Yeah. Correct. Correct.
This is uh, something that most managers have to learn. And I always share it with youngsters because they are the managers of tomorrow. They may
Yeah.
not join as managers, but they are the
Yes.
managers of tomorrow. They can keep it in the back of their mind by the time they reach that place. That's a
Talking about the employees, I mean, yes, we see that employees need to be motivated, and companies normally are doing quite a lot of activities, and some activities are becoming like a standard. The compensation benefits, celebrating of birthdays, occasions, and doing some staff recreation, team building activities. In your experience, what have you learned how the hoteliers can motivate and keep, because as you said, rightly said, if people are not happy from within inside, then it's very difficult for them to be happy at the work, and their happiness will not be determined only by the workplace but also by their own personal matters, how they have been working, how what where are they living. So how the hoteliers would be able to make or try to make the people's happier at work?
You see, in this is a keeping people happy at work is not a mechanical matter, it's an emotional matter.
Yes.
So saying annual day, I've done it, and this and that, I've done it, if it is not done from your heart, sorry, it will not work. Uh, what is important is to have a sensitive management. Okay. By sensitive, I do not mean to go to the extreme of being a charitable organization. No.
Yeah.
We are a profit-making organization.
Correct.
But being sensitive to people as to what they need. I'll give you one example. In one of my hotels, we used to have this annual day. And I had a chef who was a very efficient person. So one day he said, "Sir, this year I will organize the annual day." I said, "Okay, I make you in charge, you organize." And then the guy organized it, a fabulous show. It was a fabulous show. Very well organized, lights were good, and this and that. But what he was doing is most of the time he was screaming and shouting at people who were working.
Yeah.
And his intention was to get the work done, to put up a perfect show. And he succeeded in that. So in the end, he asked me, "Sir, kaisa hua?" So I said, "Let me put it this way: the show was good, but I was not happy with it." They said, "What happened?" I said, "The purpose of an annual day is not to put up an excellent show, but to conduct an activity where people from different departments are involved in a common activity. That is what the purpose of celebrating an annual day is."
Correct.
Like
Correct.
if some flyers have to be put up, so somebody from front office, somebody from the kitchen, somebody from engineering is doing it together and putting up those flyers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is the purpose of organizing an annual day, to involve the
Everybody.
guest.
Yeah.
You're not an event management company that has to make sure that it goes together. So the guy was shocked. Today he's a general manager and he says, "Sir, I got that learning." You know? And another thing, I tell you is, if you want to motivate people, which people often forget, is creating a concept of justice. Now, what I mean by justice is that people get recognized for what they have done and they do not get praised for what they have not done. Now, I was fortunate enough, like most hoteliers, having risen through ranks. And I'm sure, Manish, you must remember, you must be remembering some situations where you were very, very upset because you felt what was happening was not right.
Correct.
You get that thing.
Yes.
So that is what I mean by a sense of justice. That people should get that sense of justice, that if we have worked, we should get rewarded. And let me tell you something. If a person has not worked, inside their heart, they know they don't deserve it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And if
it's
they
something
have
like
worked,
what my granddad used to tell me. He said, "Can I speak in Urdu, Hindi?"
yeah, sure.
He said, "बेटा जब एग्जाम दे के तुम आओगे, लोग पूछेंगे पर्चा कैसा हुआ, तुम कहोगे अच्छा हुआ, मगर दिल में तुम्हें मालूम है कितना हुआ,
कितना गलत हुआ, कितना सही हुआ."
और वो सच होता है। दिल में तुम्हें मालूम है कि तुम्हारे 40% आएंगे, और जब 40% आएंगे तो तुम रोगे, बहाने बनाओगे, मगर तुम्हें दिल में मालूम है कि हाँ, you did work that. So people actually know their work. So if they do not get recognized, they may show that they're upset from top, but they will not be upset from inside. So you got to make sure that they are okay from inside. That's what I mean by...
Definitely, you are right, sir. Especially when because I mean that's personal experience. When I used to work, and I used to work very hard, and in my mind I know that I have worked very hard. I have sacrificed even my personal time or my leisure time to achieve something for the company, and I'm able to do that. And if by the end of the day or by the end of the budget session, I mean, normally we used to work super hard for budgets, even taking the responsibility, which is not our responsibility, is the other department responsibility. I used to say, okay, I will help you out. No problem. Don't worry about it. At the end of the day, when the budget is finished, and then I see, oh, there is no appreciation, or there is not even a simple thanks. Forget about the rewards or anything else. So that breaks. But the only thing is
that you feel hurt.
Only thing is that I am a positive person, unfortunately, and I forget things very easily. So I said, okay, never mind. At least I learned something. I learned how the other department works because I helped them. So that's a silver lining for me, that okay, I learned something new from helping others.
Now, Manish, I would like to differ with you a little on this. When such a thing happens, you may have the maturity. You have the maturity of handling it. Like most of us have. I've handled those situations. But the truth is that little something is left behind.
Yeah, correct.
The mind.
Yeah.
As a manager, when you come on the other side of the table, you got to understand that these little things should not be left behind. Because these little things left behind will create a positive or negative bias. So yes, you can. What I'm trying to say is that when the injustice took place with you, you can't say you didn't feel bad.
Yeah.
You did feel very bad. Only thing is that you had the capability of managing it.
Yeah. correct.
You had the
Yeah.
capability of managing it.
If I'm saying this now, that means that thing is still in my
It was
mind.
there because you are saying it now. That means it is there somewhere in the back. A
Somewhere
little
in the
dot
corner. Yeah.
is there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now we have to eliminate as many dots as possible. You can't eliminate all,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
but as senior management, you got to make an effort to eliminate as many dots as possible
Yeah.
from the back of the mind.
Yeah. But not an
That's
excuse,
what
but
it is.
I think it happens with when you are the senior management, you have to take care of multiple things. You some way somehow slip and forget to appreciate people who are working for you. Some way sometimes you does not even notice that somebody has been doing how many hours of work for you. And so how do you try to counter that? Is it like maybe a routine of, I mean, I have read some self-help books where say, okay, you need to make a routine of meeting at least one person and then appreciate their work on a daily basis or a weekly basis.
See, Manish, let me put it this way. We are humans, so we cannot be perfect,
Yeah.
but we must make an effort to be right on as many occasions as possible.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
if this thought is in your mind that I need to appreciate what people are doing, it will come automatically.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Correct.
need not you need not say that I have to appreciate one person per day, two people per day.
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
And appreciation is best when it comes at the right time,
Immediately.
immediately
Yeah.
or the right time. If
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
has done a good job,
Hmm.
um, if I were to tell them that, what you did on the 3rd of September was excellent, not so good
Yeah. Yeah.
as it is now.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Because according to me in management, both appreciation and reprimand has to be immediate.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
The only
Correct.
difference is that I believe appreciation should be in public
Yeah.
and
And
reprimand
repayment
should
should
be
be
in
in
private.
private. Yeah.
Private. If you
Well,
can
that's
unite these two,
then
but
the people.
the first thing that you have to do is uh, now let me talk a little about performance appraisal, and then I'll come down to
Yeah.
giving people a pat on the back
Sure.
or a kick,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you may want to do. For performance appraisal, it's important that at the beginning of the year, it should be laid out as to what is expected out of you.
Yeah.
That's very
Correct.
clear.
Mm-hmm.
What is expected out of you should be laid out very, very clearly. And during the course of the 6 months or the one year, if anybody is performing as per that profile that has been given to them, they should be given periodic pats on the back and corrected,
Yeah.
so that
Yeah.
when you reach the time of an appraisal, you have minimum to discuss.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, this, what you are saying is happens because of what we've inherited. Hmm. Like in the government of India, there's a concept known as CR. That's confidential report.
Uh-huh.
Your boss wrote a confidential report about you, which you had no access to. It went into your file and it went to the next boss and the next boss and next boss. So very often people used to say, if you don't do this, मैं तेरी CR बिगाड़ दूंगा.
Oh.
So it was an opaque concept. Now from opaque, we have to bring it to a transparent concept.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, there should be a system by which a person can counter that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll tell you the appraisal system that I had followed.
Yeah.
We had what was known as an annual work plan.
Mm-hmm.
Annual work plan. There were 5 objectives of the organization, and everybody's work plan was as per those 5 objectives. The weightage was different depending upon their
Rank.
where they were working. Like for example, if you talk about cost control, so finance and others would have a higher weightage and a houseman would have low weightage.
Mm-hmm.
So we have an annual work plan, and based upon the annual work plan, an appraisal would take place. And the appraisal both had to sign on it. And the person who was being appraised had a right to object and say that I do not agree.
Mm-hmm.
So the boss had to discuss it out with them and come to a agreement. Okay, this is your, and if he still disagreed, it would go one step up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was very clear. You could say, because it's happened with me. Once
Mm.
my boss told me, "Arey, yaar, you didn't do this." I said, "Never told me.
Yeah.
I never knew that this was expected out of me. Had you told me I'm quite capable of doing it, I would have done it."
Mm-hmm.
So to bring up if transparency, brings about a better sense of justice. Now coming back to about praising and reprimands, I found a very good system when I was working with Carlson.
Mm-hmm.
In Carlson, they have a system of a Bravo uh, award. So anytime a Bravo certificate can be given to anyone whenever they do something good.
Okay.
And it is put on the electronic notice board for everybody to see. Bravo, sorry, Bravo is a
Bravo. Yeah.
So uh, there's a guest relation executive. A large group came, and she did an excellent job of quickly checking them in and housing them, looking after them, and going until they left, and which led to a lot of satisfaction. So immediately give her a Bravo certificate.
Mm-hmm.
Put it on the board, electronic board, and when people meet, and they say congratulations. There's nothing. There's no money involved. There's no nothing involved. Little certificate, a beautifully made one, which comes on the computer, comes on, and it comes on everybody's email footnote.
Mm-hmm.
That so and so's got a Bravo certificate for this. And the Bravo certificates are taken into consideration when your appraisal is being done.
Okay.
So you have let off the steam by praising them, and
Mm-hmm.
when your appraisal comes and your Bravo certificates are read out, you know what they've done during the day.
Yeah. Correct. Correct.
I
So it's a
found
very
that I
easy way.
found that very good, and I and
Mm-hmm.
I I implemented it in Sarovar and I went. There's nothing wrong in taking one idea from an organization and putting it in the other.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the benefit of working with multiple cultures, multiple
Yes,
industries, that you take the best practice from one to other.
take it to the other.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I feel about.
That's great. Okay. So what are the advice to young peoples in to develop their career in hospitality? If you can advise a few things.
See, all I'll tell them is that hotel industry is a very, very exciting career. It is an exciting career, and once you join, you will enjoy yourself.
Mm, mm,
Hmm?
mm.
What is required out here is hard work and constant learning.
Yeah.
Hard work, constant learning, and a desire to serve.
Yes.
You must have a
Yes.
desire to serve. If you do not have a desire to serve, please do not join this industry. And you'll have to serve no matter what positions you are in.
Yeah. Correct.
If you have these three things, sky is the limit for you.
Yeah.
This is one industry where a bellboy becomes a general manager. And I
Yeah.
have a couple of, in fact, uh, I'll name the brand in ITC. They have this brand, Welcome Group, which is hotels, then they
Yeah.
have Fortune, and then they have Welcome Heritage.
Mm-hmm.
The head of sales of Heritage was a person who used to work at the bell desk when I was in the front office.
Wow.
So that is the possibility if you work your way up
Mm-hmm.
for this thing.
Yeah.
And all of these students are intelligent. They can find their way
Mm.
through that.
Mm-hmm.
Self-education, keep on educating yourself.
Yeah.
Read self-help, it will help you.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody with me at the 40 experience or 50 year experience can give you any jadoo mantra.
Yeah. Correct. Correct.
Find your way out, and if you find your
Mm.
way out, the path is open right till the top.